Hi everybody, welcome to episode 2 of the Essex Alliance League football trivia quiz. Hopefully you've all taken part in episode 1, which we released 2 weeks ago now on our YouTube account. If you haven't already done that one, have a go at that one too and see how you scored. As with the first quiz, this is going to be 5 rounds. There's some different rounds, obviously some different questions. The total score will be 50 marks. Please be honest with your marking. It's hopefully a competitive quiz again, and we'll see some high scores as we saw in the last one. And please, at the end, post your scores in the comments or reply to one of our social media messages and let us know how you got on. Good luck. So, round 1 of our quiz this evening is on the Premier League. There are 10 marks for this one. It's 10 questions. Here we go. Question 1. Which 3 teams were promoted to the Premier League in 2019? Question 2. Which former Manchester United player is the most substituted player in Premier League history? And question 3. Which 2 South Coast clubs have remained in the Premier League since their first promotion to it? Question 4. Name any one of the 3 Premier League players who shared the Golden Boot in the 2018-19 season with 22 goals each. Question 5. Which 3 teams were relegated from the Premier League in 2019? Question 6. Which club did Paolo Di Canio join West Ham United from? Question 7. On the same theme, what club did Roy Keane join Manchester United from? Question 8. What club did Thierry Henry join Arsenal from? Question 9. What club did Eden Hazard join Chelsea from? And the final question for this round, question 10. What club did Vincent Kompany join Manchester City from? . Okay, and that brings round 1 to an end. So, round 2, and this is a new addition to this week's quiz. We have a laws of the game section to the quiz, and there's 2 parts in this, and this is part 1 for you. Again, 10 marks. Here we go. Question 11. In what decade of the 19th century were the first laws of the game formally adopted by the Football Association? Question 12. Which organisation is now responsible for developing and preserving the laws of the game? Question 13. Which English referee famously booked a player 3 times in a World Cup game in 2006? Question 14, a follow on. And who was the player concerned? On to question 15. What is the minimum age for a person to qualify as a referee? Question 16. If a player receives 2 temporary sin bin dismissals in a match, what is the outcome for them? Question 17. Name any one of the 4 valid reasons that a referee could add time onto each half of a match. Question 18. Is it an offence to be standing in an offside position? Question 19. In grassroots football, according to Law 12, a player can be cautioned under 6 specific categories. Name any one of them. And the last question for round 2, question 20. How many laws are there in the laws of the game? And that concludes round 2. Okay, we're now on to round 3 of our quiz, and this one is on grounds. It's for 10 marks. On to the first one. So, question 21, and these are all on the same kind of theme. Which ground is pictured here? Okay, and on to question 22. Again, testing your eyesight. Which ground is this? Okay, and we move on to question 23. Which ground is pictured here? On to question 24 then. And which ground is this? Question 25. Which ground is pictured here? On to number 26. Which ground is this? On to number 27. Which ground is pictured here? Question 28. Which ground is this one? Question 29. Here's a famous one for you. Which ground is this? And the last one in this round, question 30, which ground is pictured here? Okay, that brings to an end round 3, which was our grounds round. We move on. Okay, right, we're into round 4 now. Just 2 more rounds to go. We're on to now FIFA World Cups. And again, this is 10 marks for you. On to the first question. Question 31. Which countries were the last from Asia to host the FIFA World Cup back in 2002? Okay, hopefully you got those. Question 32. Which country were the first ever winners of the World Cup back in 1930? Okay, we're on to question 33. What is the name of the famous World Cup trophy which was awarded to the winners from 1930 to 1970? Okay, and as a follow-up to that question, question 34. And what was the name of the dog who found the trophy after it was stolen from Westminster Central Hall in 1966? Question 35. Which instrument came to prominence during the World Cup finals in South Africa in 2010, noted for its loud monotone note? Question 36. Which 2 English players had penalties saved by Argentina's Carlos Roa in the 1998 World Cup? Question 37. After the next edition of the World Cup in Qatar, which countries are due to host the following finals in 2026? Question 38. Who is the current president of FIFA? Question 39. Which Scotland player famously scored a 73rd minute own goal against Brazil in 1998 to hand the South American side a narrow 2-1 victory? And the last question for this round, question 40. Which England player was sent off in the 2006 World Cup in a quarter-final tie against Portugal? And that brings to an end round 4. Okay, our final round of this quiz today is the second part of our Laws of the Game quiz. It's again 10 marks. Away we go with the final round. Question 41. Some scenario based questions here. So for a free kick which is taken by a defender within his own goal area, where should the opponents be? Question 42. A goal is scored directly from a throw-in by an opponent. What decision should the referee make? Question 43. A spectator blows a whistle and a defender inside his own penalty area handles the ball believing that play has been stopped. What decision should the referee make? Question 44. What are the minimum dimensions of a football pitch according to IFAB? And I'll take that in metric or imperial measurements. Question 45. What is the minimum number of players required for a team to commence and continue a fixture? Question 46. What must the distance between the goalposts be on a full-size pitch? Question 47. Is this a true or false statement? The team that wins the coin toss takes the kickoff in the first half. Question 48. A goalkeeper is bouncing the ball on the ground in preparation for a drop kick. An attacker kicks the ball when the goalie is not touching it and the ball enters the goal. How does the referee need to restart the game? penultimate question. A goalkeeper picks up a deliberate back pass from his teammate inside the goal area. What do you decide to do? And question 50, our last question for today. In the middle of a match, you become aware that a coach on one of the benches has done something worthy of a yellow or red card. However, it can't be identified who it was. So what do you do? Okay, so that brings to an end our final round of the quiz today. I'm going to give you a few moments now just to look over your answers and check them, and then in a couple of moments time we will go through all the answers and see how well you got on. Okay, right, we're going to move on to checking our answers now. So, the first round that we went through was the Premier League round, and this was for 10 marks, as we mentioned at the beginning. Question 1, which 3 teams were promoted to the Premier League in 2019? And you need to get all 3 to get the mark for this one. The answers were Norwich City, Aston Villa and Sheffield United. Well done if you got those. Question 2. Which former Manchester United player is the most substituted player in Premier League history? That's quite an interesting fact. This is Ryan Giggs. Well done again if you got that one. Question 3. Which 2 South Coast clubs have remained in the Premier League since their promotion to it? Hopefully a little bit of geography knowledge here might have helped you. There are, I think there's 3 South Coast clubs in the league at the moment, and the 2 that stayed up are Bournemouth and Brighton and Hove Albion. Question 4. Name any one of the 3 Premier League players who shared the Golden Boot in the 2018-19 season with 22 goals each. So you can have any one of these 3 for the mark. It was Mohamed Salah, Sadio Mane and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Question 5. Which 3 teams were relegated from the Premier League in 2019, i.e. last season? And the answer to that was Huddersfield Town, Fulham and Cardiff City. Question 6. There's some interesting ones here. What club did Paolo Di Canio join West Ham United from? If you're old enough to know this, well done. The answer, of course, is Sheffield Wednesday. Obviously well known for his altercation with a referee while playing for Sheffield. Question 7. What club did Roy Keane join Manchester United from? Probably a lot of people don't remember this because he was at Manchester for so long, but the answer is actually Nottingham Forest. Question 8. What club did Thierry Henry join Arsenal from? The answer for this one, not a French club as you might have imagined, it was actually Juventus. Question 9. What club did Eden Hazard join Chelsea from? The answer to that one is Lille. And a little tough one here to finish the round. What club did Vincent Kompany join Manchester City from? The answer is Hamburg. Well done if you scored well in that round. So the first of the laws of the game round, part 1, which is round 2, again is for 10 marks. In what decade of the 19th century were the first laws of the game formally adopted by the Football Association? So technically, if you do your maths, you've got a 1 in 10 chance of getting this one right. The actual answer is the 1860s, with 1863 being the actual year that the first laws of the game were adopted. Question 12. Which organisation is now responsible for developing and preserving the laws of the game? Well, that is IFAB, which is the International Football Association Board. Question 13, hopefully many of you would have got this one. Which English referee famously booked a player 3 times in a World Cup game in 2006? That is, of course, Graham Poll, who's probably not lived it down since the day. And question 14, who was the player concerned? So it was a Croatia player, I don't know if that helps you at all. It was Josip Siminic. Question 15, what is the minimum age for a person to qualify as a referee? The answer to this is 14, and then to take part in open age football they have to then turn 16 before they can either referee or assist a referee. Question 16, if a player receives 2 temporary sin bin dismissals in a match, what is the outcome for them? Now, lots and lots of combinations with sin bins, as we may well know already. The answer to that is that if he receives 2 sin bins, he can take no further part in the match, but he can be substituted. So after 2 sin bins, he can't play any further, but he can be replaced by somebody else. Question 17. Name any one of the 4 valid reasons that a referee could add time onto each half of a match. So there are 4 reasons here, so you can have 1 mark for any of these, up to a maximum of 1. So the answers are deliberate time wasting, obviously in the view of the referee, substitutions, injuries to a player or players across that half of football, and time added on for disciplinary sanctions. They're the only official reasons. Question 18, yes or no with this one. Is it an offence to be standing in an offside position? Of course, no. A player is offside when he is in an offside position and becomes active. So he can be in an offside position and not be infringing the laws. Question 19. In grassroots football, according to Law 12, a player can be cautioned under 6 specific categories. Name any one of them to get the mark. Now I'm looking for roughly the official wording in this section. So the 6 possibilities are delaying the restart of play, dissent by word of action, entering or re-entering or deliberately leaving the field of play without the referee's permission, unsporting behaviour, failure to respect the required distance at restarts, a corner kick, free kick or corner, and persistent offences. Well done if you got any of those right. Hopefully you got some of the wording fairly close. Okay, on to question 20. How many laws are there in the laws of the game? You probably think there's a lot, but there's actually technically only 17. Now, obviously there's lots of bylaws within those laws, but the answer to that is actually just 17. So, we move on to round 3, which was our grounds round. There's 10 marks again for each of these. Let's see how well you got on and test how good your eyesight was. So question 21, this was the first ground that we pictured. Tough one, up north, for those of you who know the grounds that way better. The answer is Stoke City, which is the club, and it's the Bet365 Stadium, or previously known as the Britannia. I'll give you a mark if you got either of those. Question 22, quite a unique design to this one. Hopefully you picked it out from the picture there. This is actually Aston Villa, and it's Villa Park. Question 23. Now, this was a tough one. It's not in Britain. It's actually in Germany. It's the Westfalen Stadion. I hope I pronounced that right. And that was Borussia Dortmund's ground. Okay, and then we move on to number 24. So which ground is that? Now, this is in Britain. Fair play to you if you got this one right. It's actually Hampden Park up in Scotland. Question 25. Again, this is a fairly big ground, not in the top flight as things stand at least. It's Elland Road, and it's Leeds' ground. Question 26. Now this is a bit of a red herring. This one, this ground actually doesn't exist, at least not looking like that. This is actually White Hart Lane, Tottenham Hotspurs. And here's question 27. Which ground is this one? This is a tough one. Has hosted top flight football, is in the London area, not currently a top flight ground. It's actually the Valley Charlton Athletic. Question 28. Right, another one that's not in England. It's further north than that, up in Scotland. This is Ibrox. This is Rangers' home ground. Now, one of my personal favourites, this one. If you got this one, you deserve extra marks. Unfortunately, I'm only going to give you one though. This is actually the Maracanã in Rio. A very distinctive design to that ground, and certainly one that can hold a heck of a lot of people. And the last one for this round might be a little bit tricky if you don't know your geography. So this is actually Goodison Park, Everton. Maybe the blue roof there might have helped you slightly. Okay, so that ended the grounds round, and on to round 4, which was our FIFA World Cups round. Again, 10 marks available for you. Question 31 was, which countries were the last from Asia to host the FIFA World Cup back in 2002? And the answer to that was, of course, Japan and South Korea. So you need both of those to get the mark. Question 32. Which country were the first ever winners of the World Cup back in 1930? If you took part in our first quiz and a couple of weeks ago, this was alluded to. The answer to this is Uruguay. They were the first ever winners. Question 33. What is the name of the famous World Cup trophy which was awarded to winners from 1930 to 1970? That is, of course, the Jules Rimet trophy. It's not the current trophy, but it was given to Brazil back in 1970 for winning 3 World Cups. So Jules Rimet is the answer. And a follow-on to that, question 34. What was the name of the dog who found the trophy after it was stolen from Westminster Central Hall in 1966? If you got this one, you deserve a medal. The name of the dog was Pickles. Question 35. Which instrument came to prominence during the World Cup finals in South Africa in 2010, noted for its loud monotone note? These were, of course, the vuvuzelas. Question 36. Which 2 English players had penalties saved by Argentina's Carlos Roa in the 1998 World Cup? Infamous penalty shootout, an infamous game, of course, for certain other instance. The answer was, of course, Paul Ince and David Batty. Now, I will give you half a mark for each of those if you got one of those right, so half a mark for each. Okay, question 37. After the next edition of the World Cup, which is due to be in Qatar, which countries are due to host the following finals in 2026? I didn't know this before I looked it up, so this is an interesting question. The answer to this is it's a trio of countries. It's the USA, Canada and Mexico. Question 38. Who is the current president of FIFA? Again, a tough one if you don't know your football. The answer is Gianni Infantino. Question 39. Tough one this, I thought. Which Scotland player famously scored a 73rd minute own goal against Brazil in the 1998 World Cup, which handed the South American side a narrow 2-1 victory, which I'm sure many Scottish people would say wasn't deserved? The answer to that was Tommy Boyd, Celtic player. And question 40. Which England player was sent off in the 2006 World Cup in a quarter-final tie against Portugal, which probably swung the game, unfortunately, in their favour? The answer was, of course, Wayne Rooney. And the last round, round 5, Laws of the Game Part 2. We gave you some scenario questions for this, amongst others. There's 10 marks for this. Question 41. For a free kick which is taken by a defender within his own goal area, where should the opponents be? Well, the answer to that is not 10 yards away. The answer is outside the penalty area. Okay. Question 42. A goal is scored directly from a throw-in by an opponent. What decision should the referee make? So the answer to that, quite simple, is that the referee should disallow the goal and award a goal kick. Question 43. A spectator blows a whistle and a defender, who's inside his own penalty area at the time, handles the ball believing that play has been stopped. What decision should the referee make? So, according to the IFAB, the referee should stop play and restart the game with a drop ball. Okay, Okay, so I'm hoping that you've got something along those lines. Question 44. What are the minimum dimensions of a football pitch according to IFAB? So I said I'll take this in metric or imperial measurement, depending on which you use. The official measurement is the minimum 100 yards long by 50 yards long by 50 yards wide, which equates to 90 metres long by 45 metres wide. Question 45. What is the minimum number of players required for a team to commence and continue a fixture? So this one might confuse a few people. Under the IFAB rules, it says that you need to have 7 players to commence a fixture, and that when you go below 7 players, i.e. if you have injuries or players dismissed from the game becomes abandoned. Now, in respect of the number of players needed to start a game, that actually is dependent on your local league. Local leagues do sometimes have different rules, and some leagues operate with an 8 player rule to start a fixture. Question 46. What must the distance between the goalposts be on a full-size pitch? So taking a yard measurement, the answer is 8 yards, which equates to 7.32 metres. Question 47. A true or false statement, this one. The team that wins the coin toss takes the kickoff in the first half. Is that true or false? The answer is actually false, which does confuse a few people sometimes. It's the winning team always kicks off in the second half, so the losing team at the coin toss takes kickoff. Of course, the winning team does get choice events. Question 48. A goalkeeper is bouncing the ball on the ground in preparation for a drop kick. An attacker kicks the ball when the goalie is not touching it, and the ball enters the goal. How does the referee need to restart the game? Now, I've seen this frequently happen at different levels of football, including in the Premier League. So the official answer is that an indirect free kick should be awarded, obviously, to the goalkeeper's team. Question 49. A goalkeeper picks up a deliberate back pass from his teammate inside the goal area. We've all seen it happen. What do you decide? So a referee in that instance should restart play again with an indirect free kick. And lastly, question 50. In the middle of a match, you become aware that a coach on one of the benches has done something worthy of a yellow or red card. However, it can't be identified who it was. So what do you do? Now, this is actually a rule or a law, I should say, which came into effect last summer. The answer is that the referee should caution or red card the manager of the team who he believes was the instigator of the offence. Even if he doesn't think it might be the manager has to take the repercussions, unfortunately. And there we go, that is the end. So take some time now to add up your marks. As I said before, there are 50 marks available, so let's see how you got on, and we'll see who got the highest score. So that brings to an end our quiz for today, the second episode of the Essex Alliance League football trivia quiz. Hopefully you've all enjoyed the experience and you've gained some new knowledge, if anything else. Tried to insert some new questions and some new rounds, some visual questions as well, to hopefully appease the audience that's out there. Please do post your scores in the comments box and or reply to one of our social media posts and let us know how you got on. Thank you to Mike Locke, who helped to put together some of the laws of the game questions, which hopefully you found interesting, if anything else. If you disagree with anything as one of those answers, contact him, not me. But hopefully it's been enjoyable for you. If this whole lockdown thing continues, and I can envisage we'll be bringing out some more quiz videos to keep you all engaged and keep those minds thinking for the time being. But for now, I hope you've enjoyed the evening, and we wish you all the best for the forthcoming weeks, and we'll hopefully see you all again soon. See you later.